Alright, so
Never mind, there's no time for pants, Jerry. Wait, it's a Rick and Jerry.
the fuck was that? So as we all know, Rick Sanchez is probably one of the most trifling men in TV history. There's never been any rhyme or reason to anything that Rick has done. He just does it for the sheer fact that he wants to do something. Now, with that being said, there's been many moments where Rick being himself just goes a little too far. And hold up, disclaimer, I'm not talking about the regular stuff. Like the time that he abandoned his family at the end of season 2, or when he turned Beth into a clone and came back with a gun to kill Jerry. Cause that stuff don't count. That's literally just his character. Nuh-uh. What I'm referring to is the asshole shit that he would do in between these times. Things that never really made sense to me no matter how hard I sat there and thought about it. So in today's video, I thought that I should go over every time that I looked at Rick pretty strange, or considered that this episode wasn't really necessary and that, you know, it probably was his fault. Even though like 80% of the show is entirely his fault. But from the top, let's get into today's video. And the first episode that we're gonna talk about is Vindicators 3. So Rick and Morty link up with the Vindicators, but the Vindicators are kinda ass. But Morty still tries to tell Rick not to ruin it for him because he's trying to enjoy himself. But Rick doesn't care. He only thinks that the Vindicators are ass. So he leaves Morty for the night to get a drink. Moving forward into the next morning, Morty finds Rick shitted all over himself. And now my guy Noob gotta clean it up. Morty tells the Vindicators he has doubts about his grandpa, but they make him feel better by making him an honorary member of the Vindicators. Moving forward, Rick and Morty touch down on the planet that Worldender is supposed to be on with the Vindicators. And of course, while everybody is doing some extra shit to showcase their power, Rick has to be resuscitated because he's still passed out drunk. But when he wakes up, he easily gets rid of all the defenses that Worldender had set up. Did you think that you were cool? Did you think I'd respect you?
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
But as he continues to troll the Vindicators, he steps on a tile that reveals Worldender is dead. We find out that Rick killed him, and later after that created a Saw-like game for the Vindicators to beat when they arrive. The first game is that they have to attach each label associated with each character, and if they don't do it under a certain amount of time, they'll die. But Vance Maximus decides to try to leave. Why did he fly up there? Oh my god, what was that? I got wrecked in the process. Moving forward, Rick is being held up by the monorail man. But Morty's already finished the puzzle and they get to move on to the next level. Moving forward, the next challenge is for the Vindicators to pick a place that they'll never mention because they're ashamed. So the robot crocodile picks Dorian 5 and that ends up being the wrong answer. I guess you can say he got crocked. We learned that on Dorian 5, they had to destroy a whole planet because Doom Nomatron was on. This causes Alan Rails to press Supernova, but Million Ants gets in the way. But amidst all the beef, Morty solved the problem again. Hold on a second. Why the hell was he talking about Israel? And what does he say about it? Rick be getting real MAGA-like sometimes. Moving forward, drunk Rick got lazy with the last challenge, so he tells them just to shoot basketball, while Morty has to try to deactivate a neutron bomb. During the game of basketball, Alan realizes that Million Ants has something going on with his ex-wife.
That's a 3-pointer.
That boy really cracked his wife. So while Rick and Morty are still trying to figure out if the neutron bomb is a dud or not, Alan Rails and Supernova end up having a hard time, which causes Alan and Million Ants to get into a squabble. What the hell? What kind of fight was that? Y'all supposed to be superheroes. Moving forward, Supernova arrests Rick and Morty. Now they move on to the last Saw challenge, which is someone has to step up onto the podium that Rick loves. This causes Morty's head to get hyped up because he believes that his grandpa truly loves him and he would never let anything happen to him. So Morty gets on this Disneyland-ass ride that Rick made with all the Vindicator adventures that they've been through. But instead of having a heart-to-heart with Morty, it was Noob who this whole event was intended for. You know, let's really just analyze that for a second. Analysis time. Thank God, it's analysis. Imagine having a grandfather like Rick. Someone who's, you know, like Rick. Never tells you he loves you, never says that he's proud of you, and sends you out on dangerous missions every single day. And the one time that you think you're gonna receive love and affection from this man, it turns out that he gives it to a named Noob. So Morty goes back to the game room with the rest of the Vindicators mad as hell. But Supernova threatens to kill Rick and Morty for their crime. Million Ants tries to reason with Supernova so that she won't go down a dark path.
I'm sorry, my love.
In this life, I've been scarred.
But before she can kill them, at the end of this event, there was a whole party being. Is that Logic on stage?
His dick gets more business than
Who the fuck is Noob?
But y'all think that time was bad? Here's another one.
It's in my head.
So Morty is depressed because he finds out the truth about everything, but then Rick tells him that he has a plan to get rid of this memory. So we step inside this floor hatch and enter a room full of popsicles. I mean, memory vials. Filled with every memory that Rick has extracted from Morty, called Morty's Mind. Like the first one where Morty's looking through a telescope and he believes that he sees a man on the moon. Rick tries to convince him that it's impossible that he's seen anybody up there, but Morty's adamant on believing it. And he sees this man inside of his classroom. So what Morty does is stalk him to his house to take pictures of him to prove that he was actually walking on the moon. But when he tries to tell the principal that he has evidence that the teacher is walking on the moon, Principal Vagina goes outside to beat him up and fires him because he believes that man on the moon was code for something else. But when Morty rolls past the old teacher's house, he spots that there's an ambulance once outside and knows that he passed away. And when he goes back to check the telescope, the only thing that he sees is a smudge on the lens. Moving forward to this other time where they got trapped in this alien version of PetSmart. Rick sent out signals to NASA making them believe that there's life on other planets, so they go to the discovery. But as soon as they get there, Rick and Morty trick them into believing that they're actually aliens. They give them their clothes and they steal their spaceship so they could get home. Peekaboo. Moving forward, Rick shows Morty more trifling memories, but this time instead of him up, it's his family members that screwed him over. Like Beth choosing Summer over him to live, or like the time he got possessed by an alien worm that turned him into a demon. But showing love was the key to extract the worm, and it was working at first, until they all started turning into comedians and started roasting this. Moving forward, Morty tricks Rick into seeing what the red vials are filled with. And lo and behold, these are all the memories that Morty had of Rick that Rick screwed up. This causes Morty to leap in a fit of rage, and he starts attacking Rick.
Just relax.
No, I'm not gonna relax. Come here.
Let go of me, you little bitch.
Now, because of this, Rick and Morty both lost a lot of their core memories, and they don't remember who each other are. So Morty goes through certain memories to figure out who they are, and each one gets more ridiculous than the other. Like when he didn't want to leave the house because it was too level and everything else was crazy. He messed up a light switch so astronauts died. He teleported like 100 bitches to his house, and this goes on for hours. Morty searching through every shitty memory that he's ever had with Rick. Until finally...
What are you gonna do, kill me?
No, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
So Morty and Rick create a pact to off themselves. But right before they can commit to this plan, Summer walks into the room. And when she finds out that they're doing Morty's mind blower, she goes into this cabinet by the door. This had all the directions for what to do in the scenario that both Rick and Morty lost their memories.
Whoa, what? Cable!
Yeah, what the hell, Summer?
Summer, you dumb
How
bitch.
long,
Let us fall
Summer?
asleep.
So after Rick and Morty get done berating their own family member, they head out the house to discover a new mission.
And you know what? This is the last one because I can't handle the triflingness anymore.
Alright, so everybody's walking out of the movie theater excited to go get some ice cream and shit like that. But Rick's car battery dies, so he has to go inside of it to fix it. He takes Morty and leaves Summer outside by herself, but he informs the car to keep Summer safe. So when this scary goon walks up to the car...
Summer,
Safe. Moving forward, we see Rick and Morty inside of the car battery. Whoa, where is this shit going? Then Rick reveals to Morty that he created an entire civilization of aliens to power his car battery. Alright, I guess it's time to put these weird-ass antenna on our heads for some reason.
I told them it means peace among worlds.
Oh my god, Rick, that was hilarious, and that's so funny. Not! But then Rick is informed that they've been trying to create a new form of electricity that'll make the Fubo boxes obsolete. So the scientist Zeep takes him inside of the box that he created and takes him into an entirely different dimension. Rick tries to explain to Zeep that what he's doing is wrong, but Zeep's not hearing him out.
Morty and Rick try to devise a plan to get out of there and leave Zeep behind.
But before they get a chance to execute it, they gotta step off the ship and meet the aliens. Moving forward, it seems like Summer's still not having such a good time staying safe.
Ceasefire, stay back. Oh, my fault, I'm sorry.
Daddy, leave the car alone.
Hunter, go.
So Rick informs the Teenyverse president that he knows that they're working on a microverse of their own. So one of the scientists of the Teenyverse take Rick, Morty, and Zeep to see exactly what the microverse of their world looks like. Zeep starts saying the same shit that Rick was about the planet. And when he hears the scientist saying exactly what he was saying, this causes Zeep to realize that he's actually made in a microverse as well. So Rick and Zeep start scrapping on the ground. And when the scientist asks Morty where he really comes from, he finds out that his life truly doesn't matter.
Oh my god, no.
And wrecks the transportation. So now, Rick and Zeep are both going at it, trying to hurt each other with medieval-style weapons. And Morty gets sick of this, and he tries to go out on his own to find food. Let's check in on how Summer's doing. Okay, she's still suffering through hell. Good. Moving forward, Rick and Zeep are piloting wooden life-size soccer boppers to fight each other. And just as soon as Zeep got the upper hand on Rick, they get apprehended by the village people, led by Morty. So when they get back to the village, Morty begs Rick and Zeep to put all the issues behind them because he misses home. He forces them to work together, which works out for the greater good because they turn out to be friends.
You guys are the worst. Your gods are alive. You. Nature and trees.
You know, I was gonna say it's never that serious, but never mind.
Moving forward, they all return back to the microverse. But when Rick asks Zeep about that drink, he tries to do some shady shit and get back on the ship before Rick and Morty can. Now, Morty and Rick have to catch up to Zeep so they don't get left behind inside of the microverse. So after Rick destroys Zeep's microverse, they try to make a break, but Zeep isn't far behind them. But I think this is time to check on how Summer's doing. Moving forward, more military and a race of giant spiders pops up, and it turns out Rick's car told them both to come there so they could settle a treaty between each other. Finally, it's time for Rick and Morty to get back on the ship, but not before Zeep has one last battle with Rick. Damn, Unc, you really serving them to him right now. So Rick and Morty emerge from the car battery, tattered and abused. Rick decides that it's time for everybody to get some ice cream. But when they pop up to the ice cream shop, now there's flies inside of the ice
How
cream.
many legs?
What the did you do, Summer?
It was your ship. Your stupid ship.
Nothing like being home for the holidays.
It's not even a Christmas episode.
Now we all know that Rick Sanchez is a menace. That's been confirmed. But you could be too if you don't hit that subscribe button. So what are you waiting on? Don't wait for me to give you the go ahead. Just go ahead and do it already.
Do it right fucking now.
Sorry. All right, see you guys later.